Captain Minho stared at the readings on his screen for the third time. The numbers made no sense. His ship, the New Soul, drifted silently in space near a dead planet that should not exist. According to every star map and database, this solar system was empty, just another patch of darkness between the known worlds. "Captain, are you seeing this?" Dr. Hana called from her station. Her voice carried excitement and worry in equal measure. She was the best xenoarchaeologist in human space, and Minho had worked with her for 5 years. He knew that tone meant trouble. "What have you found?" Minho walked over to her console. The screen showed energy readings that pulsed like a heartbeat deep beneath the planet's surface. The signals were strong, too strong for a dead world. "These energy patterns," Hana pointed at the display, "they're not natural. Something artificial is down there, and it's big, really big." Jinwoo looked up from his systems panel. The young analyst had joined their crew only 6 months ago, but he was sharp. "Captain, I'm picking up metal signatures too. Massive structures buried under kilometers of rock and ice." Minho rubbed his chin. They were supposed to be on a simple survey mission, checking old star charts for mining opportunities. Instead, they had stumbled onto something that could change everything. "How deep?" "Deep," Jinwoo said. "Maybe 10 kilometers down. But the structures, they're huge. Some of them are bigger than our largest space stations." The captain made his decision. "Take us into orbit. Full scans. I want to know everything about that planet before we get closer." For the next 6 hours, they studied the dead world. The planet had no atmosphere, no water, no life. Its surface was covered in ancient craters and frozen plains. But beneath all that emptiness, their sensors found a maze of tunnels and chambers that stretched across continents. "This doesn't make sense," Hana muttered as she reviewed the data. "The construction patterns, they look almost human. But that's impossible, and why impossible?" Minho asked. "Because these structures are old. Really old. I'm talking about tens of thousands of years, maybe more. Humans barely had fire back then." Jinwoo frowned at his screen. "Captain, there's something else. The energy readings are getting stronger. It's like our presence is waking something up down there." That made Minho nervous. First contact protocols existed for a reason. If they had found an alien civilization, even a sleeping one, they needed to be careful. "Any signs of active technology?" "Hard to tell," Jinwoo said. "But yes, I think so. Some kind of power source is definitely running down there." Hana stood up suddenly. "We need to go down there." "Absolutely not," Minho said. "We don't know what's down there. It could be dangerous. Captain, this could be the discovery of the century. Maybe the millennium." Hana's eyes blazed with scientific curiosity. "If there's a chance this is some kind of lost civilization, we have to investigate." Minho looked at his small crew. Besides Hana and Jinwoo, he had only 3 other people aboard. They were researchers, not soldiers. What if whatever's down there doesn't want visitors? "Then we leave," Hana said simply. "But we'll never know unless we try." The captain studied the sensor readings again. The structures were enormous, but they seemed inactive. Dead. "Jinwoo, any signs of weapons or defenses?" "Nothing obvious." "But Captain, these readings are strange. It's like the structures are made of materials we don't recognize. Our scanners can't get clear images." That settled it for Minho. Unknown materials meant unknown technology. And unknown technology could mean danger or opportunity. "Prep the shuttle. Small team only. Hana, you're with me. Jinwoo, you stay here and monitor everything." "But Captain," Jinwoo started. "No arguments. If something goes wrong down there, I need you to get word back to Earth." 2 hours later, Minho and Hana descended through the planet's thin atmosphere in their shuttle. The surface looked even more desolate up close. Nothing but gray rock and ice stretching to the horizon. "There." Hana pointed at a deep canyon that cut across the landscape like a wound. "The strongest readings are coming from down there." Minho piloted the shuttle into the canyon. As they descended, their lights revealed something that made them both gasp. The canyon walls weren't natural rock. They were metal, covered in strange symbols and patterns that seemed to shift in the light. "Those markings," Hana whispered. "They look almost like ancient human writing. But different." At the bottom of the canyon, they found an opening. It was perfectly round, large enough for their shuttle, and it glowed with a soft blue light. The energy readings from inside were off the charts. "Captain," Jinwoo's voice crackled over the radio. "I'm reading massive power spikes from your location. What's happening down there?" Minho stared at the glowing entrance. Every instinct told him to turn around and leave. But Hana was right. This could be the greatest discovery in human history. We're going in. The tunnel beyond the entrance was smooth and clean, as if it had been built yesterday. Their shuttle's lights revealed more symbols on the walls, and Minho could swear they were glowing brighter as the shuttle passed. The air in here, Hana checked her readings. It's breathable. Oxygen, nitrogen, perfect mixture.
How is that possible?
They emerged into a vast chamber that took their breath away. It stretched so far that their lights couldn't reach the walls. In the center stood a massive structure that looked like a mix between a building and a machine. It pulsed with the same blue light they had seen at the entrance. My God, Hana breathed. Minho, look at the symbols on that structure. The captain looked where she pointed. The symbols were definitely human in origin, but ancient beyond anything in their historical records. And as they watched, the symbols began to glow brighter as if responding to their presence. Jinwoo, Minho called into his radio. Are you getting this? Static answered him. They were too deep underground for normal communication. Hana was already suiting up to leave the shuttle. We have to get closer. Those symbols. I think there's some kind of writing system. Maybe even a computer interface. Against his better judgment, Minho followed her out of the shuttle. The moment his feet touched the ground, everything changed. The blue light suddenly blazed brighter and a low humming sound filled the air. The structure in the center of the chamber came alive with dancing lights and moving patterns. What did we just wake up? Minho asked quietly. Before Hana could answer, a new voice spoke from all around them. It was speaking in perfect, if slightly archaic, human language. Welcome home, children of Earth. We have been waiting for you for a very long time. Keeper Do-hyun led them deeper into the facility. The corridors were wide and filled with a soft blue glow that seemed to come from the walls themselves. As they walked, Hana peppered the ancient AI with questions about the technology around them. These materials, she said, running her hand along the smooth wall. What are they made of? Quantum-bonded metals that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, Keeper Do-hyun replied. They are nearly indestructible and can repair themselves if damaged. Minho tried to contact his ship again, but the static was worse now. They were too deep underground, and something about the facility seemed to block normal communications. Jinwoo must be worried sick, he muttered. Your crew member is safe, Keeper Do-hyun assured him. The facility's sensors monitor the entire system. No Vorak ships have arrived yet. They entered a vast circular chamber with a raised platform in the center. The platform held a chair that looked like it was carved from a single piece of black crystal. Holographic displays surrounded it, showing star maps and technical readouts that hurt to look at. This is the command nexus, Keeper Do-hyun explained. From here, the ancient admirals could control entire fleets across the galaxy. It is also where the awakening sequence must be initiated. Hana studied the chair with scientific fascination. It's beautiful. But what exactly does it do? It creates a quantum link between the user's consciousness and the eternal fleet. The process is intense. The human mind must be expanded to process information from 12 massive ships simultaneously. Has anyone ever died from it? Minho asked. Not died, no. But some have lost themselves in the vastness of it. The fleet's consciousness is ancient and powerful. A weak mind can be overwhelmed. That was reassuring. Minho approached the chair cautiously. Up close, he could see that it was covered in the same strange symbols they had seen throughout the facility. How do I know if I'm genetically compatible? We will find out when you touch the chair. If you carry the bloodline, the symbols will respond to you. Before Minho could change his mind, alarms began blaring throughout the chamber. New holographic displays appeared, showing the space above the planet. Report, Minho said automatically, falling back on his military training. Vorak advanced scouts have entered the system. 3 ships moving toward the planet. Hana grabbed Minho's arm. That's impossible. You said 6 hours. I was wrong, Keeper Do-hyun admitted. The Vorak possess faster ships than I calculated. The main fleet will arrive in 2 hours, not 6. Minho stared at the approaching enemy ships on the display. They were sleek and deadly looking, covered in weapon ports and armor plating. Even 3 of them would be more than a match for his research vessel. What about Jinwoo? What about my ship? The new soul is hidden in the planet's shadow. If your crew member follows basic stealth protocols, the scouts may not detect them. May not, Minho repeated grimly. Captain, Hana said urgently, we're running out of time. If you're going to do this, it has to be now. Minho looked at the crystal chair again. Everything about this situation was wrong. He was a research captain. not a military admiral. He had never commanded anything larger than a small survey ship. And now he was supposed to take control of weapons that could destroy entire solar systems? "Tell me about the ships," he said. "What exactly am I waking up?" Keeper Doyen gestured, and the chamber filled with new holograms. 12 massive ships appeared in the air around them, each one different but equally impressive. The Eternal Fleet consists of 12 dreadnoughts, each one 5 kilometers long. They are equipped with gravitational weapons that can collapse stars, defensive shields that bend space-time, and engines that can cross galactic distances in minutes. 5 kilometers? Hana breathed. That's bigger than most asteroids. Size is not their only advantage. Each ship possesses an artificial intelligence based on the consciousness of an ancient human admiral. They are not mere machines, but thinking, feeling entities with 50,000 years of tactical experience. Minho studied the ship designs. They were beautiful in a deadly way, covered in elegant curves and weapon arrays that looked more like art than instruments of war. What are their names? Eternal Dawn is the flagship. Then there are Void's Edge, Star Crusher, Final Hope, Galaxy's Shield, Time's Arrow, Infinity's Wrath, Cosmos Born, Dreamwalker, Silent Thunder, Lightbringer, and Last Stand. Each name sent a chill down Minho's spine. These were not ships built for exploration or diplomacy. They were instruments of war, created by a civilization that had nearly destroyed itself fighting enemies from beyond the galaxy. "If I do this," Minho said slowly, "what happens to the rest of humanity? Will they accept having ancient weapons protecting them? That is not your choice to make," Keeper Do-hyun said gently. "Your choice is simple, save them or let them die." The alarms got louder. New displays showed the Vorax scouts getting closer to the planet. "Captain," Hana said, "there's something else we need to consider. If these ships are as powerful as he says, humanity won't just survive this attack. We'll become a major power in the galaxy overnight. That will change everything about who we are as a species." Minho had thought of that too. Humanity was currently a small, peaceful civilization, focused on exploration and trade. Suddenly possessing weapons of mass destruction would make them a threat to every other species in known space. "Will other races attack us because of these ships?" he asked. "Some will," Keeper Do-hyun admitted. "Others will seek alliance with you. A few will simply flee to distant galaxies. The balance of power will shift dramatically. And if the original enemies of humanity are still out there, then you will need every advantage you can get. The ancient war was never truly finished. It was merely postponed." Minho closed his eyes and tried to think clearly. In 2 hours, a massive alien fleet would arrive with the intention of destroying every human they could find. His current ship couldn't even scratch their armor. Earth's entire fleet would be useless against Vorak technology. But these ancient ships, they could not only stop the Vorak, they could probably destroy their entire civilization if needed. "There's one more thing," Keeper Do-hyun said quietly. "Once you link with the fleet, you will have access to the memories of the ancient admirals. You will see the last war, understand what humanity was fighting against, and know why they chose to hide their power. Will I still be me? Yes, but you will be more than you are now. The question is whether you are strong enough to remain yourself while carrying the weight of that knowledge." The displays showed the Vorak scouts beginning to scan the planet's surface. They would find the facility soon. Hana grabbed his hand. "Minho, I've known you for 5 years. You're the most ethical person I've ever met. If anyone can handle this responsibility, it's you. What if I make the wrong choice? What if I become the kind of person who destroys planets just because I can? Then I'll be there to remind you who you used to be," she said firmly. Minho looked at the crystal chair one more time. Somewhere above them, an alien fleet was coming to commit genocide. Somewhere in the darkness of space, ancient human weapons waited for someone to wake them up. And somewhere on Earth, billions of people lived their lives without knowing that their survival might depend on the choice of one research captain who had never wanted to be a warrior. He walked to the chair and placed his hand on its armrest. The crystal immediately blazed with golden light. The symbols covering its surface began to glow and move, racing across the material like living things. Power flowed up his arm and into his mind, bringing with it the first taste of something vast and ancient. "Genetic compatibility confirmed," Keeper Do-hyun announced. "Admiral Minho, are you ready to awaken the Eternal Fleet?" Minho sat down in the chair and felt it adjust to his body perfectly. The holographic displays around him shifted and focused. showing him star maps that spanned the entire galaxy. He could feel something enormous stirring in the darkness, 12 sleeping giants beginning to wake up. "Do it," he said, initiating awakening sequence. Warning: this process cannot be stopped once begun. The chair hummed with power, and Minho felt his consciousness begin to expand beyond his physical body. In the distance, across light years of space, 12 ancient minds began to respond to his call. The voice echoed through the chamber like thunder, but somehow it felt warm and familiar. Minho grabbed Hana's arm, ready to run back to the shuttle, but she stood frozen, staring at the glowing structure with wide eyes. "Did it just speak to us in Korean?" she whispered. "That wasn't Korean," Minho said. "That was English. Old English. No, Captain. I heard it in Korean. Perfect Korean." Before Minho could respond, the voice spoke again. This time, holographic images appeared in the air around them. The images showed star maps, human faces, and ships unlike anything in their current fleet. "Do not be afraid. I am Keeper Do-hyun, guardian of this facility. I have waited 53,412 years for humans to return to this place." Hana took a step forward. 53,000 years? That's impossible. Humans weren't even civilized back then. A new hologram appeared. It showed a figure that looked unmistakably human, dressed in clothes that seemed both ancient and futuristic. The figure smiled kindly. "Dr. Hana, your knowledge of human history is incomplete. This is not your fault. The truth was hidden to protect your people." "How do you know my name?" Hana asked. "I know many things. Your ship's computer systems are primitive but sufficient. I accessed your records when you entered the system." The hologram gestured to the chamber around them. "This facility contains the true history of humanity. Would you like to learn?" Minho stepped protectively in front of Hana. "What are you?" "Are you human?" "I am what remains of Admiral Do-hyun, who built this place. I am his memories, his knowledge, preserved in quantum crystal matrices. In your terms, I am an artificial intelligence, but I was once as human as you are." The chamber filled with new holograms. They showed images of vast fleets of starships, cities that floated in space, and humans living on thousands of different worlds. The technology in the images was far beyond anything humans currently possessed. "This is impossible," Minho said. "If humans had technology like this, where did it all go?" Keeper Do-hyun's expression became sad. "War, Captain Minho. A war that nearly destroyed everything. Humanity once ruled an empire that spanned 3 galaxies. We were explorers, builders, protectors of life, but our success made us enemies. The holograms changed to show alien fleets, creatures of darkness and metal that brought death to world after world." Minho watched in horror as entire planets were consumed by these monsters. "The Devourers," Keeper Do-hyun said. "They came from the void between galaxies. They consumed all life, all light, all hope. Humanity fought them for 1,000 years, but they could not be stopped by conventional means." "What happened?" Hana asked. She was recording everything on her personal device. The Council of Admirals made a terrible choice. They used weapons that could destroy not just planets, but entire solar systems. The war became so destructive that reality itself began to break down in some regions of space. New images showed the aftermath. Dead systems, broken space, and a galaxy in ruins. Both sides nearly destroyed everything. In the end, the surviving human leaders made a desperate decision. They would hide the most dangerous weapons and technology, wipe the memories of most survivors, and start over. Minho felt a chill run down his spine. "Start over? You mean..." "Yes, Captain. The humans on Earth, your Earth, are descendants of the survivors. Your ancestors chose to forget their past to protect the future. Only a few facilities like this one were built to preserve the truth, waiting for the day when humanity would be ready to reclaim its heritage." Hana was studying the technical displays that floated around them. "These ships, this technology, it's thousands of years ahead of anything we have now." "Not thousands," Keeper Do-hyun corrected. "Millions. Your current technology is actually quite primitive compared to what your ancestors possessed. But you have something they lost in the final years of the war." "What's that?" Minho asked. "Peace, hope, the ability to grow and learn without constant fear." The hologram smiled again. "Your people may have forgotten their past, but they kept the best parts of what made humanity great." The chamber suddenly filled with warning sounds. Red lights flashed among the blue ones, and new displays appeared showing space above the planet. "What's happening?" Minho demanded. Keeper Do-hyun's expression became grim. "Long-range sensors have detected approaching ships. Non-human design. Large fleet, heavily armed. Pirates? Hana asked hopefully. No, Dr. Hana, these are Vorak ships. The Vorak Dominion has found this system. Minho had heard of the Vorak. They were a warrior race that had been expanding aggressively for the past 50 years. Human colonies on the outer rim had been reporting attacks, but Earth's government insisted they were just raiders. How many ships? Minho asked. 437 vessels, including 12 dreadnoughts. Keeper Dohyun paused. Captain, I must tell you something important. The Vorak are not simple conquerors. They are the servants of something much worse. The Devourers? Hana whispered. No. The Devourers were destroyed in the ancient war. But their ideology survived in other species. The Vorak believe that organic life is a disease that must be eliminated. They have been systematically destroying every human colony they can find. Minho felt sick. How long until they reach human space? At their current speed, they will arrive at your outer colonies in 14 days. Earth itself will be under attack in 30 days. We have to warn them, Minho said. Your fleet cannot stop them, Keeper Dohyun said sadly. I have studied your current military capabilities. The Vorak possess technology that will easily destroy your ships. Hana looked up from the technical displays she had been studying. But the ancient human ships could stop them, couldn't they? Keeper Dohyun nodded slowly. The Eternal Fleet was built to fight enemies like the Vorak. 12 ships, each one capable of destroying entire armadas. They are hidden throughout this galaxy waiting. Then we wake them up, Minho said. We use them to protect humanity. It is not that simple, Captain. The Eternal Fleet was hidden for a reason. If it awakens, other enemies will know that humanity has returned to its full power. Ancient grudges will be remembered. Old wars might begin again, better than extinction, Hana said firmly. Keeper Dohyun studied them both for a long moment. There is something else you must understand. The fleet will not obey just anyone. It requires a commander with the genetic markers of the ancient human admirals, someone who can interface directly with the ship's consciousness. Do such people still exist? Minho asked. The hologram smiled. Yes, Captain. The genetic lines were preserved, hidden in the general population. Most carriers never know what they carry in their blood. More alarms began sounding. The red lights flashed faster. The Vorak fleet has changed course, Keeper Dohyun announced. They are heading directly for this system. They will arrive in 6 hours. That's impossible, Minho said. They would need to travel faster than light. They possess jump drive technology, Captain. Something humanity had in the ancient times but lost. Hana grabbed Minho's arm. We have to make a choice. Right now, do we wake up the Eternal Fleet or do we let the Vorak destroy everything? Minho looked around the chamber at the floating displays of ancient technology and forgotten glory. Somewhere in space above them, an alien fleet was coming to destroy his people, and somewhere else, sleeping weapons of unimaginable power waited for someone to wake them up. If I choose to activate the fleet, he said slowly, what happens to me? You become its admiral, Keeper Dohyun said. Your consciousness will be linked to 12 of the most powerful warships ever built. You will have access to knowledge and abilities that no human has possessed for 50,000 years. And if I choose not to, humanity dies, all of it. The Vorak will not stop until every human world is ash. Minho closed his eyes and thought of Earth, of the billions of people who had no idea what was coming for them. When he opened his eyes again, his decision was made. Tell me how to wake them up. Pain exploded through Minho's mind as the connection established itself. It felt like his skull was being split open and filled with the light of 1,000 stars. Through the agony, he became aware of 12 distinct presences awakening across the galaxy. On Earth, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the eternal dawn stirred for the first time in 50 millennia. 5 kilometers of ancient metal and crystal began to rise through the ocean floor, sending massive tidal waves across the planet's surface. Admiral, a voice spoke directly into Minho's mind. It was calm, professional, and utterly loyal. This is Captain Taewan of the Eternal Dawn. We have been waiting for you. More voices joined the mental conversation as other ships came online. Each one was a separate person, a distinct personality preserved in quantum crystal for thousands of years. Void's Edge reporting, Admiral. All systems functional. Star Crusher online. Weapons charging. Final Hope ready for your orders, sir. Minho tried to speak but found he could only communicate through thought now. The crystal chair had completely integrated with his nervous system. Status report, he managed to think. Instantly, information flowed into his mind from 12 different sources. He could see through the sensors of every ship simultaneously, feel their massive engines warming up, understand their weapon systems as if he had designed them himself. The eternal dawn had broken through Earth's ocean, and now hung in space above the planet like a dark moon. Its appearance had caused panic on the surface. Every telescope and satellite was focused on the massive ship that had appeared from nowhere. "Hana," Minho said out loud, his voice strained with effort. "Contact Earth. Tell them not to attack the ships." Dr. Hana was frantically working with her equipment, trying to establish communication with the surface. "The electromagnetic pulse from the awakening ships is interfering with everything. I can't get through." On the holographic displays around them, they could see the other Eternal Fleet vessels emerging from their hiding places across the galaxy. Each awakening sent shockwaves through local space, revealing technology that defied current understanding of physics. Keeper Doyun watched the process with what looked like satisfaction. "The fleet is fully operational, Admiral. All 12 ships report ready for combat." "Admiral," came the voice of Captain Seoyun from the ship called Silent Thunder. "Long-range sensors detect the Vorak main fleet approaching the system. 437 vessels heavily armed." Through the fleet's sensors, Minho could see them now. The Vorak ships were ugly, functional things designed only for destruction. They moved in perfect formation, their hulls bristling with weapons that could turn planets into molten slag. "Time to intercept?" Minho asked. "At current speeds, they will reach the outer system in 43 minutes, Captain Kyung of Time's Arrow reported. "However, Admiral, we should inform you that the Vorak have been monitoring human communications. They know about Earth's location and population centers." That sent a chill through Minho's expanded consciousness. The Vorak weren't just coming to destroy random human colonies. They were coming to commit complete genocide. "Admiral," Dr. Hana called from beside the crystal chair, "I'm picking up communications from Earth. Their defense fleet is mobilizing." "How many ships?" Minho asked. 215 vessels, mostly destroyers and cruisers. Through the fleet's tactical systems, Minho analyzed Earth's defensive capabilities. It was like comparing a child's toy soldiers to a modern army. The human ships were brave but hopelessly outmatched. "Captain Taiwan," he thought to the flagship, "what is our combat readiness?" "All ships at 100% efficiency, Admiral. Gravitational weapons charged. Reality anchors deployed. We are ready to engage." "Reality anchors?" Minho suddenly had access to technical specifications that boggled his mind. The Eternal Fleet didn't just possess advanced weapons. They had technology that could manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. "Admiral," came an urgent voice from Captain Do-hyun of Galaxy's Shield. "The Vorak have launched a preliminary attack. 60 fast attack vessels heading directly for Earth." On the displays, Minho watched the enemy ships separate from the main fleet. They were moving incredibly fast, their engines leaving trails of distorted space behind them. "How long until they reach Earth?" he asked. 17 minutes at current acceleration. Minho made his first command decision as Admiral of the Eternal Fleet. "All ships, intercept those attack vessels. Protect Earth at all costs." "Acknowledged, Admiral." Moving to intercept. What happened next was beyond anything in human military history. 12 ancient dreadnoughts, each one a masterpiece of forgotten technology, began to move through space like living things. They didn't use conventional engines. Instead, they bent space-time around themselves, sliding through reality as if it were water. The Eternal Dawn reached the advancing Vorak attack force first. Captain Taiwan didn't waste time with warnings or negotiations. "Engaging enemy vessels," he reported calmly. Minho watched through the ship's sensors as the Dawn's main weapon fired. It wasn't a laser or missile. It was a focused gravitational pulse that reached out across space and simply erased 6 Vorak ships from existence. They didn't explode or burn. They just ceased to be, their matter scattered across dimensions. The remaining Vorak ships immediately changed course, trying to flee back to their main fleet. They didn't make it. Void's Edge appeared beside them in a flash of twisted light, its weapons tearing through Vorak armor like paper. Starcrusher materialized on their other flank, its reality distortion cannons turning enemy ships inside out. In less than 3 minutes, all 60 Vorak attack vessels were destroyed. The Eternal Fleet hadn't taken a single hit. "My God," Hana whispered, watching the battle displays. "They're not just powerful. They're on a completely different level." Through his connection to the fleet, Minho could feel the ancient ship's satisfaction at being in combat again. These vessels had been built for war, and they were very good at it. Admiral, Captain Jinwoo of Dreamwalker reported, "The Vorak main fleet has detected our attack. They are changing formation and increasing speed. What's their new estimated arrival time?" 22 minutes, Admiral. "And they're bringing everything they have." Minho studied the approaching enemy fleet through 12 sets of sensors simultaneously. The Vorak had learned from the destruction of their advance force. They were deploying energy shields, launching fighter squadrons, and powering up weapons that could crack planets. "Admiral," came a new voice from Captain Seo-yoon of Lightbringer. "I'm detecting communications from the Vorak fleet. They're calling for reinforcements." "From where?" "Multiple systems, Admiral. It appears the Vorak have been preparing for this war for some time. Additional fleets are moving toward human space from 6 different directions." The scope of the threat suddenly became clear to Minho. This wasn't just one attack fleet. The Vorak had been planning the complete extermination of humanity, and they had positioned forces throughout the galaxy to make sure no humans escaped. "How many ships total?" he asked, though he dreaded the answer. "Preliminary estimates suggest over 3,000 vessels, Admiral. This is a full-scale invasion force. 3,000 ships against 12. The odds would have been impossible for any conventional fleet. But the Eternal Fleet wasn't conventional. "All ships," Minho commanded. "Prepare for full engagement. Deploy all weapon systems. Authorization code, Ancient Dawn. Authorization accepted, Admiral." All fleet vessels moving to combat readiness. Through his connection, Minho felt the 12 ancient ships transform. Weapon ports opened along their hulls like flowers blooming. Energy fields that could stop planet-killing missiles sprang into existence around each vessel. And deep within their quantum cores, weapons that could reshape matter at the atomic level began to charge. "Admiral," Captain Kyung of Final Hope reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the lead Vorak vessel." "Put it through." A harsh alien voice filled the command chamber. It spoke in guttural tones that sounded like grinding metal, but Keeper Do-hyun provided translation. "Humans of the primitive fleet, you will surrender immediately. Your resistance is meaningless. We are the Vorak Dominion, and we have come to cleanse this galaxy of your disease." Minho thought of Earth below, of the billions of people who had no idea their entire species was under attack. He thought of the peaceful human colonies scattered across known space. Unprepared for this kind of warfare. "Send a reply," he ordered. "Channel open." "Admiral," Minho's voice, amplified by the fleet's communication systems, reached across space to the approaching enemy armada. "This is Admiral Minho of the Eternal Fleet. You have entered human space with the intention of committing genocide. Turn around and leave or be destroyed." The response was immediate and predictable. The Vorak fleet opened fire with everything they had, sending thousands of missiles and energy beams racing toward the 12 ancient ships. "All vessels," Minho commanded, "engage at will. Show them what humanity is capable of." The real battle was about to begin. The space battle that followed would be remembered for thousands of years. 12 ancient human dreadnoughts faced off against 400 Vorak warships in a conflict that bent the laws of physics and redefined what was possible in warfare. The Vorak opened with a coordinated missile barrage. Thousands of planet-killer weapons streaked through space toward the Eternal Fleet, each one capable of destroying a city. But the ancient ships were ready. Deploying reality anchors, Captain Taewon reported from the Eternal Dawn. Minho watched through the fleet's sensors as invisible fields of force reached out from each ship. When the Vorak missiles hit these fields, they simply stopped existing. Not destroyed or deflected, they were removed from reality entirely as if they had never been fired. "Impossible," Dr. Hana breathed, watching the displays in the command chamber. "They're manipulating fundamental forces. This is only the beginning," Keeper Do-hyun said with pride. "Watch what humanity's children can truly accomplish." The counterattack came swift and devastating. Starcrusher fired its main weapon, a gravitational pulse that reached across space and crushed 12 Vorak ships into points of infinite density. They became tiny black holes that immediately consumed the vessels around them. Void's Edge demonstrated a different approach. Its quantum torpedoes phased through the Vorak shields as if they weren't there, then materialized inside enemy hulls and tore them apart from within. "Admiral," Captain Seo-yoon of Silent Thunder reported, "the enemy is attempting to retreat." Through his expanded consciousness, Minho could see the Vorak fleet breaking formation. Their commanders had finally realized what they were facing. These weren't primitive human ships they could easily destroy. These were weapons from an era when humanity ruled the galaxy. Don't let them escape, Minho ordered. If even one ship gets away, they'll report our capabilities to their superiors. The Eternal Fleet moved like a pack of cosmic predators. Each ship was faster than anything the Vorak possessed, able to bend space around themselves and appear anywhere on the battlefield instantly. Galaxy's shield materialized behind the fleeing Vorak dreadnoughts and opened fire with weapons that turned matter into pure energy. Time's arrow attacked from a different angle, using temporal distortion fields to slow enemy ships while its allies picked them off one by one. In 23 minutes, the battle was over. 437 Vorak vessels had been reduced to cosmic dust. The Eternal Fleet hadn't suffered a single casualty. Fleet status report, Minho requested. All vessels operational, Admiral, came the unified response from 12 ancient captains. Minor energy expenditure on weapon systems. We're ready for the next engagement. The next engagement wouldn't be long in coming. Through the fleet's long-range sensors, Minho could see other Vorak fleets converging on human space from multiple directions. Admiral, Captain Dohyun of Dreamwalker reported, I'm detecting the main Vorak invasion force. 2,800 vessels approaching from the Galactic Rim. Time to arrival? 6 hours, Admiral. But there's something else. They're broadcasting a general alert to all Vorak forces in the galaxy. They're calling for immediate reinforcement. Minho felt a cold certainty settle in his expanded mind. The Vorak weren't going to give up after one defeat. This was going to be a war of extermination, and only one species would survive it. Keeper Dohyun, he said aloud, are there more ancient weapons available? Anything besides the Eternal Fleet? Yes, Admiral. There are automated defense platforms hidden throughout human space. Weapons satellites that can destroy entire fleets. Orbital fortresses that can shield planets from attack. Even terraforming devices that can be converted into planet killers if necessary. How many? Approximately 50,000 installations, Admiral. All waiting for activation. Dr. Hana looked up from her instruments in shock. 50,000? How did we hide that much technology? Your ancestors were very thorough, Keeper Dohyun explained. Every human colony, every space station, every important asteroid has ancient weapons hidden beneath it. Humanity learned from the last war. They prepared for the possibility that they might need to fight again. Through his connection to the fleet, Minho began accessing databases that had been sealed for 50 millennia. He saw the true scope of what his ancestors had built. Not just weapons, but an entire hidden infrastructure designed to support a galactic war. Admiral, Captain Kyung from Final Hope interrupted his thoughts. We're receiving communications from Earth's government. Put them through. A familiar voice filled the command chamber. It was Admiral Kyung of Earth's Defense Force, a man Minho had served under years ago. This is Admiral Kyung to the unknown fleet. Identify yourselves immediately. Your ships appeared without authorization in Earth's defensive perimeter. Minho realized that from Earth's perspective, 12 massive alien ships had just materialized in their space and destroyed an attacking fleet using impossible weapons. They had no way of knowing these were human vessels. Admiral Kyung, this is Captain Minho of the research vessel New Sol. I'm speaking to you from the command ship of humanity's ancient defense fleet. Silence on the channel for several seconds. Minho, what the hell are you talking about? And what happened to your ship's signature? Our sensors are reading you as a 5-kilometer dreadnought. It's a long story, sir, but the short version is that we've discovered humanity's true history. These ships belong to us. They were built by our ancestors and hidden for thousands of years. That's impossible. Admiral, we just saved Earth from complete destruction. The Vorak Dominion sent over 400 ships to wipe out every human in the galaxy. More are coming. We need to prepare for war. Another long silence. Then, Captain Minho, I'm going to need a lot more explanation than that. Can you come down to Earth for debriefing? Negative, sir. I'm permanently linked to the fleet now, but I can send down Dr. Hana with full documentation of everything we've discovered. Through the fleet's sensors, Minho watched as Earth's government struggled to understand what had happened. Emergency sessions were being called. Military forces were being mobilized. Scientists were analyzing the energy signatures from the ancient ships. Admiral, Captain Jinwoo of Lightbringer reported, I'm detecting unusual activity throughout human space. Ancient installations are coming online automatically. Explain. It appears that the activation of the Eternal Fleet has triggered awakening protocols in other hidden systems. Defense platforms are emerging from asteroid belts. Weapon satellites are powering up around every human colony. Minho accessed the fleet's tactical displays and saw the truth of it. Across hundreds of star systems, forgotten technology was revealing itself. Humanity's true defensive capability was finally becoming visible. "How long before the next Vorak attack?" he asked. "Main fleet arrives in 4 hours, Admiral. But based on their communications, they're bringing everything they have. This will be their final push to destroy humanity." "Then we'd better be ready for them." Over the next 4 hours, Minho learned to command not just 12 ships, but an entire hidden empire. Ancient factories came online and began producing weapons. Automated mining systems emerged from dead asteroids and started gathering resources. Hidden shipyards revealed themselves and began constructing new vessels using technology that had been forgotten for millennia. Most importantly, people across human space began experiencing strange dreams and memories. The genetic programming that had been hidden in their DNA for thousands of years was finally activating. Descendants of ancient engineers found themselves understanding technology that shouldn't exist. Former soldiers discovered they knew tactics and strategies from wars that had ended before recorded history began. "Admiral," Dr. Hana called from her position near the crystal chair, "I'm receiving reports from colonies throughout human space. People are remembering things. Ancient knowledge is returning. How are they handling it? Better than expected? It's like they're remembering who they always were. Deep down, when the Vorak main fleet finally arrived, they found something very different from what they expected. Instead of a helpless species ready for extermination, they discovered humanity fully awakened and ready for war. The battle lasted 3 days. 3,000 Vorak ships against 12 human dreadnoughts and 50,000 hidden weapons platforms. When it was over, the Vorak Dominion had ceased to exist as a military force. But the victory came with a price. News of humanity's return spread throughout the galaxy like wildfire. Some species fled in terror, remembering the ancient human empire and its power. Others sent ambassadors hoping to negotiate alliance with the suddenly resurgent humans, and in the darkest corners of space, older and more dangerous enemies began to stir. The ancient war was over, but new conflicts were beginning. Standing in the command chamber weeks later, Minho watched as Earth's first new warship rolled out of an ancient shipyard that had been hidden beneath Luna. It was built using both modern human innovation and recovered ancient technology, representing the fusion of humanity's past and future. "Any regrets, Admiral?" Dr. Hana asked. Minho considered the question carefully. In awakening the Eternal Fleet, he had saved humanity from extinction, but he had also thrust them into a galaxy where they would forever be seen as either saviors or conquerors, depending on who was looking. "Thanks for you,"